Hey folks, welcome back to AAA Farms. James here. So we did a little bit different video yesterday with cooking some beef ribs. That was November 16th, November 17th. We're going to throw on a chuck roast today, cook it kind of like a brisket. Done this a long time ago when I first unboxed this thing. Well, I kind of gave you all the backstory to it before. But I made some burnt ends with a chuck roast. Today I'm actually just going to cook it kind of like a brisket and make some slices. Maybe we'll make some sandwiches, something like that. So first thing I got to do is I got to empty out the charcoal or all the ash out of this thing from yesterday, which I'm just going to dump that into my garden. We'll put more charcoal in it. We'll get it up and going, and we'll it's going to be a little bit longer smoke today. So we'll have to see and how long that's going to take. Probably about 8 hours versus yesterday was about 5. So up a little earlier this morning, not too early. It's like 9 o'clock, I think, but we're going to start it a little bit sooner. So went ahead and dumped all the ash out in the garden. We had a couple lumps of charcoal left for a couple briquettes, so I picked those up. Be cautious when you're doing that because they're still toasty. But we're going to add some more. We're going to have a lot longer smoke today, so we're going to probably have to run to the Dollar General and get some more charcoal. But we're going to get this started going, get it lit up, and start preparing our chuck roast.
Wait, what did that you say?
What?
Chuck roast.
Chuck roast?
Oh,
That's what Daddy's cooking today.
I almost said that. Why? Oh, yeah, flamethrower.
Yeah. He's trying to get it lit. Takes a little bit to get lit.
It's trying to get hot.
Yeah.
And get on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need a new one.
No, it's just you can't hold that thing at an angle like that. But I think we got it lit enough. We'll leave it and see, and Daddy go get the meat ready. And we'll go from
and
there.
not get on fire?
Hmm?
And not get on fire? I mean, you need to do that again. Not gonna get on
Alright,
fire.
well, I'm gonna go get the meat ready.
Okay, I go see you got get on fire.
Okay. So this is the roast that we got from our steer. It's a chuck roast. You can see there's plenty of good marbling in there. The bone's still here. And I also got a little bone right here. But all in all, really good looking piece of meat. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did on the beef ribs, really. So I use mustard as a binder. For those that don't know, mustard's great because it holds things on there really good, your seasonings and such. But it also cooks off, so you actually don't taste the mustard in the meat or anything. It does a really good job. I like seasoning my beef pretty much. It just says salt, pepper, garlic powder, and paprika. It's a big piece of meat, so you want to make sure to season it pretty good. Okay. So, got it all seasoned up, all sides. If you wanted to, you could do an injection in this meat too. That is big enough to do an injection. I'm not going to do that today, even though I might try that in the near future. I like what's it called? Tony Chachere's has a jalapeno butter injection that I love in my chicken. I bet it would taste great in this. So, but I'm gonna put it in the microwave, just storing it, make sure dogs don't get and cats don't get into it. But we'll put it in there. It's gonna let it come up to room temperature. We'll go check on the fire, and as long as everything's good there, we'll throw it on. All right, guys, we got it going. It's towards the center. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit more coal on that side there. There's a little bit of a hole. charcoal, whatever you want to call it. Went ahead and threw a little bit of a wood chunk in there just to kind of help the fire get going. I really need to get myself a chimney. Just like yesterday, this is going to be a long, slow cook. I'm going to throw this in here. We're not going to be using this bottom grit or brine grill, but we'll put it in there anyway. And I'm going to actually use, and then we'll close it up and let it get up to temp. Then we'll throw our meat on and start cooking. Like I said, we got a long cook today. It's going to be very similar to the beef ribs, just longer. Alright, let's check to see where our tip is. It's right in that range. Fire's looking pretty good down there. So we'll close it up and go get the meat and put it on. Okay, got our meat. Go ahead and put it on. We'll let it slow cook. So we'll check on it in about an hour. Probably about an hour and a half, we'll start splitting it with some apple cider. I might run to the store and get some apple juice to mix in there, just try that. Other than that, we'll start spritzing about the hour and a half mark, probably about the time the bark starts to set up. And then we'll continue to spray it every 30 to 45 minutes after that. And after about 3.5 hours, we'll look at wrapping it in aluminum foil. And then we'll cook it in aluminum foil with some butter for a couple more hours, and it should be fall off the bone good. Alright folks, we're an hour and a half in. We're going to start spritzing now. Kind of start to see it's looking pretty good. Now we'll start spritzing every 30 to 45 minutes until it's done. Still got about another hour and a half to go before we wrap it. So we got our chuck roast off the fire. You can see all the fat that kind of bubbled up and all the different juices and how good all of that looks. It smells even better. So next step, we're going to do pretty much the same thing we did with the beef ribs. We're going to put some butter on top of this. I think we're going to wrap it up in this aluminum foil. We're going to let it slow cook, basically braise for another 2 to 3 hours. That butter is going to keep all that juice. It's going to help break down that meat a little bit more. It's going to be delicious. Alright, we got our butter. And we're going to slice this into a bunch of little pieces. And we're just going to lay it over the top. Okay. And we're just going to wrap this in our foil. The best we can, we're going to have to do multiple layers. Much better if you have bigger aluminum foil than I got, but working with what I got. Okay. And she's ready to go on the fire. So 3 more charcoal on the fire to get the fire back going pretty good. We're going to lay our chuck roast down there. And we're just going to let it go probably for about, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 more hours. And basically let it braise that meat. and break it down some more and let that butter melt over it. It's going to be delicious when it's all said and done. Alright guys, it's roughly 3 hours later. She should be done. Ideally you would like to probe it. However, my probe is not working. I have an Instance probe, but the battery's dead on it. And then I had some probes with the Pit Boss, but obviously it's wired to the Pit Boss. But we should be done now. So we're going to hurry up and quickly grab this and throw it in this container without draining the crud out of myself. There we go. So we got it in this container. We're going to go set it in the microwave and let it just rest in the microwave. I kind of hold that heat in, and I'll let this stuff rest and absorb all that moisture back in there. We're going to let it rest for roughly an hour. And while it's resting, we'll go ahead and start cooking everything else. Alright folks, it's been 2 hours. This thing's been resting. Try to very carefully take it out. Oh yeah, that looks delicious. I think it's going to be softer than we want though. Well, maybe not. So I'm going to try to do. I don't want to lose any of these juices. Okay. And I'm going to pour these back in this container over here. Try to anyway. That'll make a mess. Okay. Let's see how well this thing slices up. Turned out pretty good. Doesn't have the smoke ring I was kind of hoping for it to have. I think it's a little bit drier than I was wanting. But that's why we're going to keep that and make it a dip. Oh yeah, that's delicious. That's spot on. That is delicious. Now without dipping it, it is a little dry. And I think that's because during the smoke part of it, at one point it got hotter than I wanted it to. So I think I might have dried it out then. But all in all, this is really good. Like, I'm not complaining at all. But these dogs would fight over it right now too. So that's really delicious. That's hitting the spot. Okay. The further you get into it, the more of a smoke ring we get. You can see that pink ring going around it. And if you look at that, that looks a little bit juicier than the edge did. What I'm going to do, we're going to throw it back in this container with all the juice and let this stuff absorb some of that up. I don't know, it's Still really delicious. It is a little bit dried out, and that's probably, like I said, because it got a little too hot during the smoke part. But I mean, it's still delicious. That's all that matters. Now she's dipping in this sauce over here, or whatever you want to call it. Mmm. My stuff's delicious. So, not perfect, still delicious. So, ideally you would probe this thing and make all your decisions when to wrap it and all that after you probe it. But, ain't got no probe. Thermometer. It does look delicious though, don't it? Let's see. That bone is just, well, that bone just popped off. Is that a bone or is that meat? Cartilage. And I'm going to get a little bit off here. Okay. Nobody wants that big chunk of fat in there. Well, I don't know. It turned out really good because I was worried about is it making pulled beef because I was wanting the slices. I didn't want pulled beef. I was really worried about overcooking it. I just tried it out during the smoke phase, so ain't that big a deal. Yeah, let it eat on some fat. There we go. So, there's a chunk of meat. What I'm gonna do is wash my hands really quickly, and then I'm gonna put a lid on that, and I'm gonna shake it and let that coat all that meat. Well, you got a lid for this container apparently. So I'm just using aluminum foil. Oh yeah. Get that nice and coated. That's delicious. It is dried out. Definitely delicious. Well, that's the end result. Really good. Alright guys, that's going to be it on this one. The food turned out really, really well. Let's see. That's because, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was dried out. I let it soak in the juices for a little while. It absorbed some of that. Still tastes really, really good. We got some peas and some corn going with it. Some really delicious food. Is it perfect? No. Yeah, see what I'm working with though. I don't have a very expensive pit boss I can use. I didn't even have a thermometer I could use. That's the biggest thing, or a meat probe. But ultimately, if you like this kind of food, ain't nothing keeping you from doing it but yourself. Because that smoker I got, like I said, I want it. But I think brand new, I mean, bear in mind this is 2008, brand new, I think those were like $60. So, and I imagine you can still buy something like that pretty cheap, probably about $100 now, $120 now. But some great stuff. We got some really good meat put out this weekend between this and the ribs. The ribs turned out really good, and those were super juicy. And like I said, this is a little dry, but man, ain't nothing wrong with it. It still tastes really good. Anyway, that's gonna be it on this one, guys. I hope y'all kind of like the little change in pace in the videos here, especially considering not too long ago the steer that meat came from, y'all saw me feeding out for 60 something days, I think. I can't remember. There's a whole big short clip series of feeding these guys every single day, and so it's very fulfilling, I guess, to be able to raise my own meat here on the farm, and it's really awesome to just be able to do that. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me on the farm today. Y'all have a good one. I'll talk to y'all next time.